Don't engage alone. We do this together.
Yeah! We got it! We got it!
52 book.
Somebody clip this for the love.
Welcome to Comics League Live. I'm Jared. I'm here with Vaughn Coleman. What's up, brother?
Nothing much, man. What's up with you? Well, I mean, some things are up, but
yeah, exactly. Just chilling out and reading comics, dude. Just reading comics.
Oh yeah.
So,
what have you been reading?
Mostly Superman, because it is kind of funny. Ever since like Bendis was on the book, Superman's been like going downhill.
Oh yeah.
Then all of a sudden they recover it with Joshua Williamson. And all of a sudden everything seems to be going in more of a healing direction. So I'm like, yes.
You know what's funny is I've been I started reading comics like right before the New 52, but I never kept up with current stuff. Really, I never did. I wasn't that interested. And then I was finally about to, like, for example, with X-Men, right? I was like, you know what? This new run is starting. Everyone's praising it. And it was like funny because that was relaunching right as I was finally reading Chris Claremont's run. And I was reading them side by side and I was like, I like the old stuff better. And the thing is, it's not a nostalgia thing because I was a grown adult. Those are old comics. I just genuinely like the old stuff better.
Yeah.
But I've heard that Bendis's run of Superman was not great, which is a shame.
Oh God! That's
I heard that it ruined Tomasi's, right? Because wasn't Tomasi's everyone loved, from my understanding.
Yes, but it didn't sell well. That's the thing. Because here's the way it works. So New 52 happened, and it was a sales juggernaut because it was a complete reboot, except for if you're Batman and Green Lantern. So you could just show up because that's when I started reading comics because I was like, okay, you know what? I don't have to know anything. I'm just gonna read it there. So granted, I know they made a lot of creative decisions. Not a lot of people like Lobo, or like they sort of went a little more darker direction with Superman, which I actually liked. Hence my affinity for Zack Snyder. That's just me. But so I went in with that, and then what I ended up doing was I went back and read the older stuff after reading the New 52 because now that I understood what the characters were. But so then you get to 2016 and they completely throw out the New 52 in line of Rebirth. And that's where you get like the Tomasi run and like John Kent. And the problem with that is that the entire run was screw the New 52 and all of its fans. So I was like, I'm out.
Well, listen, to be fair, that's my understanding is at the time and still now that's how the old fans felt about New 52 Superman is that they had, New 52 in compare, and I'm not saying your feelings are invalid, but New 52, you compare that was what, a couple of years, not that many comics when you compare it to everything that the New 52 threw out to get to that point. So if you were to sacrifice one group, I'm sorry, if I'm a businessman, it's got to be the last 5 years of Superman fans versus.
But here's the problem with that though. When they
years.
rebooted to Rebirth, they tried to merge the two. And it just led to even more of I'm like, at least pick one, and then we'll go off of that.
I remember when I was first getting into comics, it was again, how old are you, by the way?
I'm 28. I'm
28?
Just turned 28.
I figured you were, 20s, I figured based on, I'm 24. So I had just read my first comic when the New 52 was coming up. My first comic being, where is this baby? Come on. I pulled that out on the problem is I pull stuff out on stream and then I like to show it off and then I put it somewhere.
Yeah.
And it's never like, I don't know why, because I'm always like lazy about it. Like instead of reaching back into the shelf to put it, because pulling it off the shelf is easier. But putting it back on, you're like, okay, got to move this. And so I don't know where it is, but my Batman Hush.
There you go.
First comic I read. And then I went to, because I was like into the movies and stuff first.
Yeah, me too.
It sounds like you were too. Yeah. And I was like, you know what? Arkham City had just come out.
Ah,
I was catching reruns of the animated series, and like I was like, I want more. I want to find out where all this stuff comes from.
Mhm.
And so I started diving into the comics. And then the comics, then they were announcing new comics as a fresh new start. I was like, cool. And I'm like, wait a minute. They're throwing out all the stuff that everything I like is based
they
on.
didn't with Batman and Green Lantern though.
Well, they did with some. Like I read the first Batman issue, and maybe this is why I never read Scott Snyder's run, even though I've heard it's amazing. Is
It's
because
really
the one
good.
issue I read was Mr. Freeze's New 52 origin. And it
Oh
was
God,
so bad.
yeah, they
that it
screwed
turned
that
me
one
off
up.
from the entire New 52.
Ignore that. They throw that out almost immediately after that. Ignore that.
See, you got to understand, man. All right, so that's good because that's the thing.
That I
Years
got.
after the fact.
Again, there were some creative changes of the New 52 that I freaking hated. I was like, no, because there's one thing you don't screw with is Mr. Freeze's origin. It's iconic for a reason.
Yeah, I mean, I like the idea that it was tied into Bruce Wayne, but like, oh my God, I remember being like, this is what the New 52 is. And it was like, to be fair, I painted it with a broad stroke. And apparently Scott Snyder's Batman run is one of the best in the character's history. And everyone who read it tells me that. Everyone who read it tells me that.
Ridiculous.
Because of that one issue, threw the whole thing out, lost all, even though there were people that were telling me, Vaughn, you need to read this. There were two reasons I didn't. It was that issue, and I can't stand Damian Wayne. I can't stand him.
I
can't
see that.
And maybe I should, because I was talking to Peter Tomasi actually, and I was like, what are your thoughts on Damian Wayne? Do you like him? He goes, I didn't until I started writing him.
Of course.
And then through Super Sons, he grew to love the character. And he was like, if you want to get over, I was like, I'm trying to get over my Damian Wayne hatred because I'm a Tim Drake guy. He goes, read my Super Sons. I'll get you over it. I'm like, all right, yeah, I probably will. Which now he's on Ghost Machine, which I need to check out. I try and check out the indies. Amazing. You know, I do. Ghost Machine is, yeah, I liked Geiger. I didn't think it was amazing. I don't know if it has the staying power of that I wanted it to have. But a Ghost Machine, I'm looking forward to. Is it downstairs? I'm sorry. Can you give me a second? I want to show you something. Be right back.
Yeah, but while he does that, I'll regale the audience. So the thing, yeah. So yeah, again, there were some creative choices that I was like, yeah, like again, Lobo. But yeah, there were some fantastic New 52 books. The thing about it, and I'll tell Vaughn this when he gets back. But the thing about it is that New 52. The problem with people's perception of it is that they tend to take certain creative choices that objectively weren't the right way to go and attribute it to the entire thing. Like that's what the entire thing is. And it's not that. Particularly for like characters like Superman, it's bringing him back to his golden age origins, as Britt said on a previous legacy show she and I did. But it's just the thing about it is that that's why pretty much what I do is I try to like take into account like the entire run because I'm like, maybe they can redeem this. Maybe they have a good story, because if they have a good story, I'm like, okay, I think I can do this. Nice. Yes. Geiger. I love Geiger.
So I was at MegaCon. So this was really cool. So there were limited edition metal covers. I got all of Ghost Machine. Let me see if I'll take it out of the bag. I got all of Ghost Machine to sign. I have two other books that I like. What was it? Redcoat and
Raven?
Junkyard Joe.
Oh, okay. Oh, that is dope. You lucky. Jeez, that is
dope. So that has Ivan Reis, Jason Fabok, Brad Meltzer, Pete Tomasi, Jeff Johns. Some of these aren't as legible. Like everyone on here, Lamont McGee, Francis Manpool. All right, so everyone, the whole Ghost Machine team. Oh man, here's the thing: metal covers I think are kind of stupid, but they're so pretty.
They are nice, but yeah, I'm like on a book, it's kind of odd.
I'm just looking at it because I never looked at it closely. You see this? I don't know if you'll be able to see this. Let me see if I can zoom in. It's like, all right, it's hard to tell on camera. So I'll just hold on. Yeah. There we go. All right, making sure. But it is like, looks like it's like glued onto paper.
Yeah, that's an odd choice.
Imagine a Full Metal Actually, that sounds cooler than it probably would be. Yeah, I mean, that's another thing too that we try and think about is like, especially as a creator now, I'm like, okay, what kind of perks do I want? Well, I'm not doing a metal cover for a comic that no one has heard of. The people, maybe later, but
that'd be cool. So, but real quick, other new 52 runs that are good are, for one thing, Aquaman.
Oh yeah, got that.
Jeff Johns completely redeemed that character, dude.
I got that. I was gonna get it signed by those two, but then I ended up getting something else because Jeff was charging $30 an autograph. So I ended up getting something else because I had so much Jeff stuff.
Yeah.
But what did I get signed? I got my you know what I got signed by Jeff is
what?
Hold on a second. But this is I loved it. I never finished the run, by the way.
Dude, it is so epic.
I know. I've read this and I've read Throne of Atlantis. I skipped over the Black Manta stuff, not intentionally, because Black Manta is my favorite Aquaman villain. I just didn't get to it.
You should.
I know. You know, I actually like the new Aquaman movie.
I did too. You mean the last one that came out?
Yeah, I actually liked it.
So good.
I don't know if I think it was good necessarily. I think there were aspects of it that were good.
It's not as good as the first one, but it's enjoyable.
I think the first one too. My thing is I liked it because it was close to the comics. I like things about it. I like the visuals. I don't think that the storytelling, especially the way they handle backstory and catching up, where it's just explaining in a montage. Both movies do this. Yeah. I don't like it. I think it's bad storytelling. Look at when I was writing my superhero origin story, and I think, by the way, this is a flaw with how the DCEU was set up. I know you're a Snyder fan, so I'll try not to rile you up too much. I remember we had a back and forth, but this goes to show I can handle.
So there you go. That's fine.
Goes to show we can handle disagreements. We're men. You know. I think it's a big problem that they led with the Justice League. Or another thing.
Why?
Why?
Because what happened, the original plan, what Snyder wanted to do, when they told him after Man of Steel that he was going to build a universe, he wanted to do a second Superman movie, which would be the more classic Superman, like not dark and all that stuff, a Batman movie, and then BVS. But Warner Brothers themselves forced it on Zack because they wanted to catch up to Avengers. They're like, no, you have to get us to Justice League now. So Zack's like, okay, I gotta do this somehow. It may not, like this way, it may have been a little clunky, but I understand why he had to do it that way.
Well, I do understand it. I also just don't like his interpretations of my favorite characters. I think Batman doesn't. Like, my problem is also, because I'll be honest, like him saying Batman kills in The Dark Knight Returns, which he has said, is an objectively false state. No, he doesn't.
Well, one time he does. He shoots the guy.
I know you're going to put ready for my counter argument to that?
Yeah.
Boom, right here. Because I knew this was coming. I came prepared.
Oh, there you go. I appreciate that.
Listen, I like to hear out the arguments, because my whole thing was I had watched the animated movie multiple times before I finally actually read the comic.
Yeah.
Now it's very good adaptation, but there are some key differences. And when I saw people were saying that, I was like, why would they say that? He doesn't kill in The Dark Knight Returns. And then I saw the panel you were talking about. And I was like, that's not how it is in the movie at all. So I picked it up. I don't know if I read it then, or I finally got motivated to read it later. And I was like, maybe he does. And then in the context of the story, it's very clear he doesn't. And I'll explain why. Because if you look at that panel and that page and that scene, in a vacuum, I would agree with you. I would totally agree with you and say Batman just killed that. If it was a Punisher comic, it wouldn't even be a question, right? Batman clearly killed that guy. We know it. We saw it. Now, here's the problem. The problem is, if you remember, Ellen Yindel, hold on, let me find her. Where does she give her? Because we have this speech. I'm trying to find her exact. She has this whole speech where she issues a warrant for the Batman's arrest, right? Hunt the Dark Knight. This is it within the same issue? I'm trying to see if it's within the same issue.
Take a wild guess.
Yes.
Is the argument that the warrant does not include murder?
Correct.
Well, here's counter argument, good sir. It's a mutant. How is that going to be murder?
Mutant? Is he actually a mutant, or is he? That's just the name of the game.
It's the mutant gang, because remember, Gotham's being terrorized by mutants. So I just figure. So even with that, it's like, would that be murder though? Because Batman was still saving people, saving a kid.
Well, consider, I would agree with you again if we were talking about a logical character making the statement. However, we are talking about Ellen Yindel, who is anti-Batman and who is basically screaming at him for what is, in my opinion, enacting justice. So you're using a logical argument, but knowing that this character is coming from a very different viewpoint than you and I. You and I imagine, would be pro-Batman, correct?
Yeah. Oh, of course.
Well, so because you're saying, oh, well, you would justify. Listen, if I was Batman, I would have killed the Joker. I would have done all kinds of things.
Oh, yeah.
My whole thing is when I'm writing a character that I didn't create or editing, like I've edited comic books, my thing is I have to put my beliefs aside and do the character. Now, Ellen Yindel would not justify that based on her actions in the book. She consistently opposes Batman at every turn, even when he's doing something that we as the audience can say is logical. So I think that if she had the golden opportunity starting a manhunt against Batman to call him a murderer without, especially shooting a woman, or was it a woman or was it no? Who was it? It was a woman.
I think it was a dude.
It was a, hang on, let me find this clip.
But
I do like that you knew my counter argument coming in. That's good. That's good.
Because I've had this debate many times, bro.
I'm sure, yeah.
But the other point that I want to bring up, particularly with BVS, now here's the counter argument to that whole thing about Batman not killing. Take into account the context around this Batman, because this is a Batman that has lost Dick Grayson specifically, and as we saw,
which is a horrible creative decision.
I know. I wish it was Jason Todd.
Unjustifiable.
That's one of the choices that I'm like, I would have rather had it be Jason Todd, but it's kind of funny. If he ever continued, he could just go in there and just change hit the headstone and say Jason Todd.
But let me just real quick before you say that, I don't think this is why I don't think Zack Snyder is a genuine comics fan, because I cannot imagine any Batman fan I know that would ever even consider making that Dick Grayson dead off screen to start. I cannot even imagine a genuine DC Comics fan making that kind of creative decision. Which is why I hold to my point that I think Zack Snyder has read one or two graphic novels that he finds on a top 10 best list, and that's his extent of comics fan, and he wikis the rest. I don't think he went into the Silver Age to go through Neil Adams or that he read any extensive comic book runs. I think he looked up the top 10 Batman stories, like Long Halloween and all of that, which is what I did when I started comics. And I think that's his extent of being a comic fan, is just reading basic graphic novels that everyone has read.
Would have, according to Legion.
Frank Miller would have made that choice. He does not.
Here's the thing. Frank made Dick Grayson essentially Joker Jr.
in one of the worst received comics ever.
Well, still, but your whole thing. But to counter that argument, are you saying that Frank Miller is not really a comics fan?
I'm saying Frank Miller post the year 2000, I wouldn't trust his judgment considering what he's written after that. No offense, I love Frank Miller. He is one of my Mount Rushmore. Ready? Look at this right here. His full Daredevil run. Right? I love Frank Miller. Got 300 right here. There we go. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Hold on. Where's year one, baby?
We'll get on that.
Papa.
As a comics adaptation, Zach had a near perfect adaptation of 300.
Well, yeah, because 300 was a very simple story that didn't.
But see, that shows that Zach was a comics fan.
No, because it's a very basic. Billy Tucci's wife, right, who doesn't read comics, loves 300. There are professors that have never read an old school comic in their life that have read 300. That's like saying you're a comics fan if you read Watchmen in college. Like, no.
Yeah, well,
that's like me saying, I'm a cinema snob because I've seen Star Wars. Like, come on, that's not like if you're reading like a graphic novel that like even universities will read, that doesn't make you, in my opinion, like a serious comic book fan. It just doesn't.
Dave brings up a good point, though. Disagreeing with his creative choices and claiming he's not a comics fan are two entirely different things, though, just like Frank Miller.
Until Zack Snyder, I want to see Zack Snyder gush about any Bronze Age or Silver Age run. I want to see his comic book run. I want to see his long boxes. If he can do a video going through his long boxes and show the times he's gone up to creators at conventions and gotten stuff signed, until he could do all of that, I'm gonna hold up to my opinion that I think his comic book, and maybe I'm wrong, but I don't think he's a comic book fan.
Now let me ask you
I think he's a graphic novel fan. I don't think he's a comic book fan.
Did you watch the Snyder cut?
Hated it. Yes.
Oh, really? Oh, wow. I was about to say. Oh, okay,
yes.
Then. Okay, there you go.
Yeah, I know I'm in enemy territory. That's fine. I believe in free discussion.
No, it's all good. Because here's the thing, dude. Here's why I'm always like, okay, fine. Because A, they're fictional characters, and B, just because we have look this way, as long as no one tries to qualify my comic book fandom based
listen, evidence is behind you.
Yeah. I did that once, by the way. Someone accused me of not being a comic book fan. I just sent them a picture of my shelf and said, try again.
Yeah.
But that's just me. So, you know what, fine. I get that it's not really for everyone, that everyone has like different opinions on it, because that's the fun part about having these discussions, because you can do that.
Yeah. Now, let me ask a question. If Batman killed in that scene, then why did he So if he killed over what I would say was mild in comparison to what the Joker did, and we both agree he did not kill the Joker. He almost did.
He almost did, yes.
But he didn't. So why, when what the Joker did was way more extreme. He killed an entire, I didn't realize this until, because I'd seen the movie first, that he was even worse in the comics, that he killed the Boy Scout troop, children. He killed an audience full of 206 people, possibly the worst murdering spree in the character's entire history. And still, Batman didn't kill him. But I'm supposed to believe that he killed that just random mutant.
I understand that, but here's the funny thing about Batman comics. He's always much more brutal to the henchman than the actual villain, because the villain sells comic books.
There's a fair point, but I also think in the supposed Batman, if this was a Batman who kills, then he wouldn't. Batman also killed. Hold on, sorry. I do like to address counter arguments.
Yeah,
Batman has also killed in other comics too. I've looked up all those, every single one of those top 10 lists of Batman. In fact, we could pull one up right now. Times Batman killed. I guarantee you, almost every argument where Batman is killed, I've looked at all these top 10 lists, has been either retconned, took place during a time in Batman's history when he wasn't even in Gotham City or fully developed into the Batman we know today. Right? Because if we're talking, if we're using that argument from the Golden Age, where Batman was living in New York City, had a fiance, pink gloves, and carried a gun. Well, Zack Snyder wasn't adapting that Batman, so that's irrelevant to Zack Snyder's vision.
Okay. But counterpoint, according to DC, everything's canon now.
Yeah, and there's a reason why I haven't been reading.
Stupid as hell. It's stupid as hell. Don't get me wrong, but that's now my counterpoint, where I'm like, it's all. You can't say it's not canon anymore.
Well, I can, but I can also say I'm not buying DC anymore.
Well, that's yeah, that's valid. That's
here's
very
my problem. My problem is if everything is canon. It's kind of like, it's one of those things where it's like, you know how there was that saying when we were growing up, I'm sure you too, where everyone is special.
Yeah.
Well, if everyone is special, no one is special.
Well, here's the other thing. If everything's canon, how about Wonder Woman's 3 origins?
Oh my God. Yeah. How about that's, the reason, because I've had this epiphany once. The reason Wonder Woman is easily the least iconic of the big three. There are a multitude of reasons. The biggest one, every time she's starting to get wind, they're like, let's change her origin. Now, how many times Superman's origin is he's the last son of Krypton, he crash lands onto Earth, he's raised by the Kents.
Same thing.
Batman, his parents are murdered, he goes off, he trains, comes back, same thing. Wonder Woman, well, it depends on come on.
Is she the daughter of Zeus or is she Clay? Pick one. At least pick one.
Like, why? And then it's like you have to stick with it, because you're already, every time you're getting new people, then you go, no. Also, like Cheetah's origin, the third version of Cheetah, Barbara Minerva, look up her origin story and see how many times they've revamped her origin story.
Exactly.
Her arch nemesis, dude.
And by the way, Legion, actually he didn't, because in that comic issue, he goes, some say she was born on she was made from clay. But there's also the story about her being the daughter of Zeus. And I'm like, at least in the movies, at least they picked one. They were like, that the clay is just the story she was told.
Oh, they did pick that?
She was the daughter. Yeah.
I didn't like that. And I'll tell you why. Do you know how many demigods we have that are already the child of Zeus?
Yo,
Like, do we really?
so many.
Wonder Woman, we made her into, instead of a unique figure
Mhm.
with a unique origin. How many other superheroes were crafted by clay and brought to life by Aphrodite?
So many.
Really?
Oh wait, by Aphrodite, not a lot.
Right. Wonder or superheroes.
Yeah.
Now, the children of gods, we've seen that so many times. Wonder Woman, why are we making her yet another child of Zeus? I don't like that. I don't like.
Empire Legion, and name the issue, because I think I know the issue you're referring to. He's referring to Tom King's Wonder Woman run, which is weird because here's the problem with it. A, it's written by Tom King, and so the premise of this was he's like a big fan of like the George Perez run, which is perfect, by the way.
I need to read the George Perez run.
It's so perfect. Good Lord, it's so good. But so he does the whole contest scene. He flashes back to the contest scene. But he makes it so apparently at one point Wonder Woman punched her mother.
Nice, classy.
Face. And I'm like, well, that's Tom King for you. See, here's what you have to say about Tom King. He knows how to make good moments, but then he does stuff really stupid.
I couldn't get into. I mean, listen, I've been told to just steer clear of Tom King's Batman. I don't like, and I'm not, I can generally separate art from the artist, but what he did to Jay Lee, especially having met Jay Lee, sweet guy, like very nice guy. Mm-hmm. Like, okay, someone did a cover. He did a cover for someone you don't like. Okay. So why do you care? Like, Jay Lee also did a beautiful cover for Tom King. Why can't he just do covers for whoever he wants? It was like him. And it's like, I can't forgive that. Yeah. Because then he tried to say, like, make it seem like, oh, we're all good. No, you can't. No, you tried to destroy this guy's career without even talking to him. I'm boycotting anything Tom King writes. I'm done.
True.
There's hundreds of other writers. Yeah. Look at all the writers on my shelf. I don't need to buy anything Tom King does.
Now, Vaughn, I will ask you this. So what do you think of Tim Burton's Batman or Chris Nolan's Batman? Because Dave has an interesting point.
What, that he kills in those?
Because they both kill.
Already, here's my point on-screen Batman. There has never been a perfect on-screen Batman. The Tim Burton one, I haven't seen since I was a kid, but I don't think it's just
straight up murders in that one.
Yes, I agree. And I think that's unjustifiable. I think it was, and I'm not saying this is not a justification, it's more of an explanation. I think that the bar was so much lower at that time that people accepted it. But I think if that movie came out today, it would be getting panned.
Well, also, it's like
worse than Zack Snyder's stuff.
When you watch that movie, I mean, don't get me wrong, I enjoy it too because I'm a massive Batman fan. But watching it, I'm like, okay, because the way Batman is and the way Michael Keaton is, at least as Bruce Wayne, is not in any way like he is in the comics.
I need to rewatch. I have not seen that movie in probably over 10 years. Mm-hmm. So I would need to rewatch, but I will say Batman killing, my stance remains consistent. I think it wasn't, if I'm going to condemn the Snyder movies, I'm absolutely going to condemn it.
Now, let me ask you this. How stupid was it in Batman Begins where he goes, I won't save you, but I won't kill you, but I don't have to save you.
Yeah, that's not something Batman would do. Listen, I think the Nolan movies were a big step up, and I think they're good movies. Mm-hmm. But is there stuff that I will say I'm not okay with? Absolutely.
Okay, good. At least you're being consistent there. I appreciate that because there's some people on Twitter that when I bring that part up, that they'll be like, Michael Keaton's Batman movies were the perfect Batman movies. They're not. How about if he kills?
That's the thing. People will say that stance, and that might be a gotcha for some people, but for me, I'm like, no, I'm consistent. And then I've gotten Keaton fans like, you betrayed. No, I didn't. I'm very consistent on this. Yeah, I don't think it's right when anyone does it.
That's why
I think the Batman, when they announced he didn't kill, I was like, yes. No, I don't.
Did kill.
When?
So do you remember the scene when he drops in on the ceiling and then someone aims a gun at him and then he like redirects the dude and it fires at one of his friends and it hits him?
I don't.
Okay, so the scene is at the end, he drops down into the stadium. Riddler's goons have guns. A dude aims a rifle at Batman. Batman redirects it and it fires and it hits one of the other criminals and that dude just falls down like this.
All right, I'll have to take a look at that scene.
Yeah, but and plus, you can tell me Batman, the director can tell me Batman doesn't kill, but if he's punching a dude's face into the ground with gloves designed to block bullets like Wonder Woman, I'm sorry, that dude is dead.
No, hold on. I'm sorry, that's a bad argument. I'll explain why. If you want to apply that logic, that real life logic to comic book characters, you are going to fail every single time, because by that logic, everyone Flash even touches running at that speed. Literally, if he punches someone at super speed, like I'm running a character with super speed.
Yeah.
You have to accept that there's going to be some rules you're going to bend. Okay.
Yeah.
He's going to electrocute people and not cause serious damage. He's going to punch someone in the face at super speed and not rip their face off. You have to accept, like the Batman Arkham takedowns, half of those would probably kill the guy.
Yeah.
But then it wouldn't be as cool. So I'm cool with the game telling me, yeah, he survived that.
Counterpoint, the director has said that it's a grounded, true to life if Batman existed nowadays. His words.
Who said that? Matt Reeves?
Matt Reeves. He said it was pretty much it's meant to be a realistic, grounded Batman.
Yeah, can we just have Batman? That's the thing too. Not everyone.
That's what I want. That's what I want too. I want to see a Lazarus Pit. I've never seen a live action Lazarus Pit.
Yeah, we won't, because everyone has to do their spin, and this is why I'm consistent on this too. Even though I liked Matt Reeves' Batman possibly the best.
Yeah.
Though there were aspects of Snyder's that are like, if the problem I have with Snyder's and why it bothers me so much is because there are aspects of that Batman that are perfect. I think that is the best looking Batman costume we have ever gotten.
Affleck is the best Batman.
I think there are scenes in that movie that are so good. My problem is that because of that change, I just am so frustrated because it's like, we're so close.
At least you can admit he does stuff right, though.
I never said he didn't do anything right. I've never said that stance. I've said that to me, all the goodwill went out the window the moment he started killing people for me. I checked out mentally. That scene where he gets the Batmobile and he blows people up, I was like, I'm done.
One more counterpoint.
As many as you want. I'm enjoying this.
All right. I'm going to say this, but you can make, because the way I've always interpreted it is that was kind of part of Batman's arc, that he's like sort of like dark and hopeless. Superman's a sacrifice. By the way, this is my problem with Batman versus Superman. They cram too much story into that one movie. I'll admit that
revealing the Justice League, the greatest superhero team in the world, through an email file. Like, are you kidding?
I think it would.
I think that was the studio. To be fair,
yeah, it was the studio. I think it would have been.
There's no way.
Let me ask you this.
Yeah.
Let me ask you this. I think it would have been better if they took that scene with the computer and put it as a post credit at the end.
I think it would be better if they took that scene and threw it in the garbage.
Well, that too. But,
like, really? Again, you're putting the Flash is going to be like revealed in a CCTV footage? Really?
Again, the studio was like forcing him, get Justice League now. That's my other thing, is like a lot of the criticism that I see Zach get is stuff that the studio forced upon him. There are some story stuff like the whole Batman killing, but counterpoint, he did not write BVS though.
Right. But I also, all right, then the writer, David S. Goyer as well, hold him accountable.
Goyer, it was Goyer wrote Man of Steel, Terrio wrote BVS and Zack.
Oh, okay, yeah, he did a horrible job.
Okay, there you go. There you go.
He did a horrible job. All right. So there's a lot of issues I had, but yeah, I mean, Batman punching people in the face, you're like, oh, that could have killed someone. Probably. I think that's not very sound logic, though, because we've seen people survive ridiculous. Look at even Die Hard. You're telling me that like that? Have you seen the video where it's like a doctor analyzed it and like he would have had to die 3 times with those injuries?
Yeah.
The film, right? Like, you know what I mean? Like, you have to at some point take the gloves off. When looking at this stuff. I forgot, by the way, this was what I wanted to show, because I haven't finished this run. I've only read
Dude,
I know.
You lucky bastard. You lucky dude.
So there we go. We got Peter Tomasi, Jeff Johns, Rodney Ramos, Ethan Van Sciver, Jerry Ordway, and Ivan Reis in there.
You haven't finished the Jeff Johns Green Lantern run?
No, it's on my list. So I'm going to finish Chris Claremont's X-Men run. Yeah. I want to finish New Teen Titans. New Teen Titans, the original Stanley Spider-Man run, and
that is like one of
Jeff Johns' Green Lantern run. I know that is like one of the holy grails. That's one of the ones I understand that within our lifetime is one of the like all-time classics.
Because here's why. Literally everything they have done with Green Lantern in terms of movies and TV is that.
Yeah. As my understanding is that this was like Jeff Johns. So, all right, real quick, my favorite writers, right? Chris Claremont,
Okay.
Frank Miller, Jeff Johns, Jeff Loeb, Chuck Dixon, and Marv Wolfman.
Those are my favorites, dude. All my favorites.
You got good. Hey, see what I mean? We could disagree and then still.
I know.
It's almost, imagine if Twitter was like, imagine if real life is like this. Imagine if the internet was more like this.
Yeah. Real life is this right now. Because it's like, yeah, okay, fine. Because here's the thing. Because yes, I enjoy Snyder's movies. I also like DC Comics. So it's not like,
you don't have to pick. You can like both. Listen, I'm very picky I also, and this isn't just with DC, dude. Like, I hated the Mortal Kombat movie.
Really?
I despised it. I thought it was, again, I'm very protective of my babies. Okay. So if you mess with my franchises,
dude, I can relate.
I'm not happy.
I can relate. I was pissed off.
Parent.
I was very pissed off at that first season of Halo, dude. 100%.
I didn't watch it. When the original creator of Halo was like, "This is not my character," I was like,
"Season 2 is way better." They literally fixed it for the most part. But yeah, that's my point. I'm like, yeah, I know where you're coming from. Where I'm like, yeah, this is a red flag.
What's your favorite Halo game? I never finished 4,
Reach.
But I've played. I need to play Reach. I've had Reach controllers.
Dude,
I never played Reach. I know.
Followed by the campaign for Halo Infinite. The campaign is great.
I haven't played your two favorites. I played 1, 2, 3. The stories. I mean, I've played Reach at like
of the trilogy. 2 is my favorite.
2 is so good.
Oh my gosh! Oh hell yes! I have the Master Chief helmet signed by Steve Downes and Jen Taylor.
For me, it's 3. Oh, I have Steve. Oh, I met Steve Downes. Hang on. Do I have? I need to organize my stuff better. I have a signed poster of Master Chief by Steve Downes. Steve Downes is awesome.
Yeah, he is.
Oh, Marcus Kelgo, you don't need energy drinks on? That's probably true.
Yeah.
It's like,
Halo peaks at Reach. Yeah. I because and then
after Bungie is when it because I remember Halo 4 I wasn't feeling as much.
The problem with Halo 4 is that they gave you
they
didn't give you that much ammo either, because it's like I
didn't like the new weapons too much either.
Well, yeah, because they all acted like exactly the same. So it's like,
yeah.
Why would you? And then Halo 5 is like, hey, what's up, Ruth? And see, Halo 5 was a good idea. It's just the problem is the marketing campaign was a completely different story than the one we got.
My understanding is that you barely got to play as Master Chief in 5, correct?
3 missions out of 12.
Yeah, that's ridiculous, man. And that's the thing. Were the new characters anywhere near as cool as the Arbiter?
No.
Oh, okay. Halo 3, I like, because as the co-op experience,
you can play as different characters. I know, right?
The co-op experience in Halo 3 is unparalleled because you got to play as 2 characters. And you know what I found funny is the enemies care more about the Arbiter than Master Chief.
Probably
the enemies like, and I'm like, come on, man! Like I remember playing with Halo, Halo 2, or Halo 3 with my cousin. And I'm like, man, he's getting all this. The guards, they're not scared of me like they are the like my kill count's better, and they're still yelling about. And one thing to your point about the weapons, dude, we seem to have a lot of overlap and interest. This is great. I'm glad this is finally happening.
Yeah, hell yeah.
Things that to your point, you picture any like Halo weapons, any of the earlier ones, I can like feel it in my hands, like the plasma rifle where it's you gotta do that, where you hold it down. Or the Basie assault rifle, you know, and then it's like after a certain point, some of the newer guns, I'm like, you know, or like the Spanker, you know, like all those, the gravity hammer, like all those, you could feel them, like they all had a distinct.
My problem.
Good thing this is the drawback, and then
my other problem is that
running together.
The firing sounds of the guns in 4 was like really, really stupid. I was like, because they sounded too sci-fi. The thing about like Halo 3 guns is that they sound, at least the human guns, they sounded like real firearms. They sounded realistic. So I was like, okay, you give me that. But then you take that away and then just expect me to go along with it? No. Plus, here's the problem. the other thing about the Halo 5 campaign, are you ready? So remember the whole campaign, the marketing campaign was Chief versus Locke.
I don't, because I honestly wasn't that into Halo at the time.
So they marketed the game as the Master Chief is going rogue. So now the other dude has to track him down. And they made it like this is going to be the entire game, right? All right. That's one cutscene.
Hmm.
You don't even get to actually fight Chief in gameplay. It's one freaking cutscene.
Dude, I remember that they did this in season 5 and 6 of The Walking Dead. The trailers would literally have a different plot to the season than what the... Like in season 5 of The Walking Dead, the trailers were that they were gonna team up with the cannibals and go to Washington, D.C. That if you've seen season 5, that is not even close to the plot of season 5. Or season 6, they literally edited a scene where it's like Rick pointing a gun at someone, and then they have a scene of Morgan sitting down. And then you watch the pilot episode, and Rick is pointing the gun at someone, and it's someone completely different. And then Morgan sitting down is a different episode, and you're like, you just made up a different. The plot of the seasons were great. Why would you make up a completely different?
I know.
I'm going to be watching the new season anyway. Why? Like, what was the marketing decision to like make up a fake storyline? I don't get it. Season 5 was awesome. It was they fight cannibals and then they go to they try to go to like they end up going to this place. The plot was cool. It was like they would make up a fake storyline, and I'm like, what are you doing? Like. Yeah. It's fine. If you have a good story, just market it. Like, all right. So, for example, we haven't even gotten to it. Now I'm fine with that, by the way. We can nerd out whenever. I'd love to do this again. But like my comic book, if I'm telling you what it's going to be about, this issue, well, maybe, listen, if I have something I want to surprise the audience later on, maybe I'll mislead a little. I'm not going to ever say that I'll never do that because sometimes it can lead to good things. Yeah. But for issue 1, the plot I'm describing, the plot you see, that is the plot of the issue. That doesn't mean there won't be surprises in there. I'm not going to give you the whole, why would I? But like the plot of the issue that is on the sign up. By the way, do you want me to send you the link to that?
I actually should have it right here, by the way.
Good man.
This is the sign up page. I'll do that. I come prepared, sir. I come prepared.
Phenomenova, ladies and gentlemen. You can also go to RebelOasisStudios.com. I purchased that domain. I do want to make a whole website eventually.
Mm-hmm.
But but for now, the MailChimp, my thing is to get the comic. Once it's out to backers, I'll probably have a website for thing. I remember I had, you have to temper your expectations when it comes to creating, right? And one of the things I realized was you're going to have to kind of scale back. Like I was like, oh, I'm going to have merch. I'm going to have everything. I'm going to have, and then professionals are telling me, Vaughn, just make a book first, man. Because that's the thing. How many people are going to buy merch of a comic they've never read?
Exactly.
Not that many, unless they're like personal friends of mine. Probably not that many. Right. That's the thing okay. Phenomenova. So
go ahead.
Is Billy Tucci approved, by the way? I don't know. I mean, I don't, Billy, I wanted him to do, I'm going to get him to do a cover probably for a future issue. I remember it didn't work out, but I also gave him, I was like, oh, I'll need it by like, I gave him like a turnaround that wasn't realistic. And then I ended up playing my book anyway. So had I managed, and this is, again, I've made like every mistake in the book of this, which is good because it makes me better for next time. Yeah. Realistic deadlines for yourself and others are key. Things will usually take longer than you expect. And that's okay. But so my comic Phenomenova the plot is that it follows this teenage boy who was struck by lightning while holding a mysterious crystal 20 years after World War III. He's the son of a World War III veteran, and he finds himself awakening with lightning powers mixed with super speed. So I remember when I was little, I'd always be like, the Flash has a lightning bolt, but he doesn't have lightning powers. What if someone had super speed and lightning powers so he can convert the electricity and run lightning fast?
That's sweet.
So his name is Galvanite. That is a superhero name. He hasn't earned his full costume yet. He's going to earn that. I wanted him to really.
So you have to earn that. That's cool. I appreciate that because too often in like books, they're like, he gets his powers. Here's your costume.
Yeah, no, that was one of the things. It was more so a logical decision as a writer, to be honest. It wasn't like a whole debate. It was more so, and I was genuinely concerned that it would mess with sales if I didn't have a superhero in an iconic costume in the first issue. But when I was writing it out, I felt like my character hadn't earned it yet. And so But you can see, to trade off, you do see these heroes. These are some of the heroes. They're known as the Crusader Corps, who fought in World War III. They're from all over the world. I want to do a prequel storyline about them that's set during World War III. So in my world, right, World War III happened 20 years ago, more than 20 years ago it started. It was basically once superhumans started popping up, it accelerated conflicts because suddenly there's power imbalances and ultimately a superhuman took over. I'll just tell you some of the stuff. You'll learn some of it in issue 1. A superhuman took over China, and once that happens, suddenly once superpowers get into play, and this was something, it was as I was coming up with the backstory for issue 1 and the world, because I remember I had a friend tell me, do something different with your world. And I thought about it. I'm like, oh, post-World War III. And then I get to play with the idea of legacy and heroes that came before, kind of like how New Teen Titans or like Young Justice has the Justice League and stuff like that. I like the idea of legacy. So it was more so I was coming up with how World War III would work with superheroes. And as I was doing that, I was like, man, this is a good story in itself. I'm going to tell this. And so one day I will tell Crusader Corps, the whole World War III storyline. But you will see some of these characters manifest in the present. Some didn't survive the war. Some did. You're going to have to find out. Some you'll see in issue 1. Some you won't see for a little bit. I'm not going to spoil, but you will see they do have a lasting impact. And the most important lasting impact is that they inspire the main character to be a better man. And then when he gets powers, to become a superhero. I really wanted to harken back to the heroic ideals of the superhero genre. I made a list of everything I love about superheroes. Like I'm a big fan of boiling ideas down to their core. And I have this idea. Came up with the idea in 2nd grade, and there were things that have changed. My character's name has changed. The World War III stuff was a later addition. The title has changed. But okay, down to its core, what is this story about? And I thought about it. And what really, let me go ahead and pin this in my chat too. What I really.
Here we go. And you froze, Vaughn.
Hold on. Go. What I really am I alive? What?
Yeah, your camera turned
my
on.
camera. No.
Once again.
Oh my god. Give me a second. All right. Sorry, you can't see my beautiful face as I speak. But one of the things, that I think is really key is that it's about ideals and rising better than yourself. It's about the flashy costumes and all that are key. But I think what a lot of superhero comics are missing is kind of the return to that idealism. It's more of a lot of writers have come along and said, yeah, but this is what it would be like in the real world. And I said, well, first of all, a lot of it comes across as people projecting their cynicism. I feel, I really do feel that way. And I'm like, okay, do we want an escape from I think idealism is the most important theme of my comic. Is my character, basically, if I were to boil it down, his whole thing is he will probably fail to become this idealized version of a superhero. I wanted to give him, he looks up to superheroes that did these amazing feats in a world war that was possibly better than anything he'll do. Or we'll see. I'm not saying it is, I'm not saying he'll never reach that level. But he is so out of his depth, and yet he's going to try anyway. And sometimes that leads to him rushing into scenarios he's not ready for. He's not perfect, but his heart is in the right place, and he needs to balance realism with idealism without caving way to cynicism. And I thought that was something that was really important to me. I think the way I wrote this, the way I designed it is we're in an age often of deconstruction, right? The reconstruction and a reconstitution of the superhero genre, heroism in a world that I think really needs it. I think that in a post-Watchmen world, or even you look at a lot of stuff that's popular, like the current X-Men stuff was talking about the X-Men were creating a world that's a way mutants and humans, they won't be able to coexist. That was a stupid ideal. And the point was, okay, even if you can never reach the goal, the noble pursuit to try, and when you don't have the energy anymore to pass the torch. It's you're a fan of Batman, right?
Yeah.
The idea of the long defeat. Does that mean that he's stupid? No, because the ideal is so worth it that even if you lose in the end, you'll A, inspire other people to carry on, and B, you'll do good in the process.
Yeah, on that, it's like I remember there was this one Batman issue. I can't remember exactly which one, but like Bruce has a moment where he's like, Alfred, am I actually having a positive effect on Gotham? And then Alfred says, if you ever have doubts, look at Nightwing. That dude turned out the way he did because of you.
Mm-hmm. Yes, yes, Batman, and that's why I hate when people are like, "Oh, Batman's just a fascist," or he's.
Oh,
I'm like,
God.
Shut up!
I saw someone that posted on Twitter the Screaming Robin meme, and it was Batman's a rich fascist who just punches out poor people, and I'm like, what comics are you reading?
It doesn't matter, dude. It doesn't matter. They don't understand heroism. It's really what it boils down to.
Yeah,
and it bothers me. It bothers me a lot because it's like people who don't understand heroism should not be writing heroes.
Yeah.
Especially superheroes like that. And it shows sometimes. Mm-hmm. But yeah, I really wanted, that's what my goal was. And it will be launching March 29th on Friday at 7 p.m. on my friend Rini Draws, Irene Strakowski, her channel. She will be doing a cover for me. There is an art contest, by the way, for all you artists. And the winner will have their piece printed in the book. So make sure that if you're interested, you get on that. I might even consider doing a page count stretch goal to include multiple pieces, but first we'll see how many art submissions we get, and then I'll make that probably a later stretch goal. Cool. But yeah, I mean, this is what I got going on.
Looks great.
All you need to do is use the hashtag, and you'll get your stuff.
Heck yeah.
I've had some people doing some great stuff for it. Yes, we got a Rini cover. We got also the new Final Fantasy VII is out. I haven't played it yet because even though I got it yesterday, I've been working on my trailer, which will, by the way, premiere on Rini's channel tonight. So she is launching a new campaign tonight. So I'm taking advantage of that, and I am going to showcase my brand new trailer tonight. So definitely check that out tonight if you guys are interested. And then I'll post it to YouTube after, but I wanted to do the grand premiere there. We have our first variant cover. There are going to be 2 others on this campaign. I'm going to launch, my plan is to launch a Kickstarter later on. Mm-hmm. Wow, my camera really is just not turning on. I love when my camera.
Yeah.
Don't you like talking to a blank screen? You having fun?
Yeah, it's the best. It is really the best, dude.
I did my makeup and everything. Yeah. I was ready for the ball. And this is what it does. It's unbelievable. It's unbelievable. But yeah, you know what's funny is I actually wrote in the script that I wanted my character's makeshift costume to be crappy looking. And wouldn't you know, when you hire artists, they tend to make things look cool. And you know what? It was a case where I'm like, I'm okay with it. Yeah. So my character, and what's funny is it was originally supposed to be a black or gray costume. And so it was their concept art was just done in black and white. It wasn't colored. And then I give it to my trading card artist. So if you scroll down a bit,
hang on, you
can just a little bit further past the creative team. But yeah, I got to get my trading card artist on there. So if you see that, she had drawn it in black and white, and she asked me, what color is it supposed to be? And I'm about to tell her what I envision. I'm like, you know what? What do you envision? And she tells me something completely different than what I said. And I said, do me a favor, give me quick flats of both. And she gives me flats of like 2 of her color schemes and mine. And I'm like, okay, hers are way more interesting looking than what I had come up with. Sometimes you got to just let artists do their thing.
Yeah.
Sometimes you have to really rein them in. I'm trying to find that. There were times I was definitely too on their case, but there were also times where they needed direction. And it's finding that back and forth. And it's a lot of work. And you know,
with mine,
this, and it was great.
With mine, my artist, I'm like, he and I've seen all the same stuff. So it's like, we have that relationship where he'll send me like character designs, and I'm like, that is exactly the way it's looking in my head.
Okay.
But yeah, everything looks really, really, really good, dude.
Yeah, actually, you know what? Because I think I'm gonna save it for a different day since it's Rini's launch. I'll release the trailer today. I'll release the trailer today on my own.
Sweet.
That's what I'm gonna do.
Okay, cool. But yeah, so I like the idea of like returning to like classic heroism, because again, it's like, yeah, you're 100% right. A lot of that is not like look at what the X-Men turned into as soon as they put them on that stupid island. They basically turned into a hostile nation to everyone.
Yeah, man, I couldn't get through it, dude. My camera. All right, I'm gonna have to just do this.
Yeah, it's all good.
Man, that's depressing. All right, hopefully I can get it. Are you launching on IGG or Fund My Comic? I'm launching on Fund My Comic.
Mm-hmm.
I'm going to release the trailer, probably after this show. So everyone subscribe to my channel. It's just my name, Vaughn Coleman.
Mm-hmm.
And yeah, the sign-up list, we are currently at, guys, we are at 510 sign-ups.
Mm-hmm.
So if you have any interest, that trading card that you were just looking at is going to be, you're going to have to be on the mailing list where you will get it and you'll have to back early on. So if you want it, back early, be on the mailing list. I don't want to hear anyone complaining that they couldn't get it, because you have the golden, it'll be free with your order. All you need to do is be on the mailing list.
Vaughn, people will complain anyway. People
I know.
will complain.
Listen, I've spent enough time on the internet to no, people will always be mad at you for something. They'll be like, well, you didn't make it. I made it pretty clear.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, exactly. But anyway, so I think that's a good place to like wrap the show. Vaughn, it was a pleasure having you on. We got to do this again. This was so much fun.
I'd love to, man. Dude, anything, any topic. It seems to me like we probably have other interests that we haven't even gotten into.
Let's do it. 100%.
I'd love to. I'd love to have you on mine too. And you mentioned you have a comic?
Yeah, I do. I'm in the ideation phase. I'm going through this. I finished the script. I'm currently in the editing phase, but and in the character design phase, but it's in the process.
Do you have an editor?
I do. Right now, what I'm just doing is I have one like already lined up. I'm just going through and making sure the plot is like, I'm making sure everything's in English so I can.
Right, you want to make sure, of course, you want to make sure that. I was just wondering because I'm an editor, but yeah, make sure you do that. So I put that.
I should have that, or I could, or if you're interested, I could have you take a look at it. But
yeah, of course.
Figure that out outside, but yeah, 100%. We are going to do this again because this was awesome.
I would love to, man. That flew by so fast.
I know.
That was a ton of fun. I really enjoyed that. By the way, guys, I am going to be going live, hopefully playing, even though it's going to be on a smaller screen because of my thing, I'm going to go and play Final Fantasy VII Rebirth on my channel very soon. I'm excited, probably right after this, depending on if I might have to do some little work first, but subscribe to my channel. Let me go ahead and post a link here.
Yeah, sure.
Sorry, just a little self-promotion, if you don't mind.
It's all good.
And then I'll get out of your hair. But
sure. And then if you guys are interested, like and comment and subscribe to Comics League. We do a lot of great stuff here.
What's your let me get your channel link too.
Yeah, hang on. I'll send it to you. I'll put it in the private chat.
Yeah, and then I'm gonna put it on my.
We are currently 60, I think, 7 subscribers away from 1K.
Nice. Oh wow, you're outclassing me.
Yep.
Which isn't that hard, to be fair.
What?
Yeah, which isn't that hard, to be fair. I'm not. I got to get better at growing my. I've been doing YouTube. I have. If you go back off of my channel, you'll see I have videos from when I had a squeaky voice in middle school.
But I'd love to give you any advice. If you have any advice on growing YouTube, just feel free to come to me.
Oh, I'd love. Yep, I will definitely ask. I'll definitely ask. You've been doing great, man. Thank you so much for having me on, and I hope to see you guys all on launch day.
I think you put the ad for me in the private chat.
Did I?
Yeah, you did.
I just subbed to Jared. I just said that's the only.
It's all good. It's all good. I've had those days.
Jared, have you subscribed to yourself?
Oh, of course I have.
This Jared guy, he's pretty cool.
Thank you. All right. Even though I'm a Snyder fan, I'm one of the normal ones. So just.
No, I know. It's okay. Listen, there are also, I'm sure you've dealt with ballistic anti. Now, I could be one of them. I probably have been one of them. But
let me put it this way.
When you talk to people, when you talk to avatars online, you tend to conduct yourself differently than a person. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
That's why I think people who spend all their time online are the most hostile people.
Oh my gosh.
They wouldn't say this to your face. Get out of here.
Yeah, exactly. On that note, everyone, like, comment, subscribe to both of us, and we will see you later. Thanks.
See you
Bye-bye.
guys. Bye.
And outro.